Joe, I feel like you and I actually agree on things. Like we have similar not perspectives, but we agree on a lot of things, and we kind of come from to it from different angles. Um, I have in the past 24 hours come across something that we disagree on, and I was like, "Well, awesome! This will be a great podcast episode." So I presented you with the idea and the team of writing a mission statement for your life. And the concern about telling people that was that they may think they have to be writing a mission statement for your business, which is very corporate-y. I think you use the term, it's very MBA like. And when I started my solo business, I just had like my core values written down, and then I had like a statement to help me like guide my decisions. But you have a different take on a mission statement, and I want to know your thoughts on like the business mission statement. Whereas this episode, we're gonna be talking about writing a mission statement for your life. But I want you to say why you don't think solopreneurs necessarily need a business mission statement.
Yeah, it's just I've seen it, back in the day when I worked for companies, and we would get together and come up with a mission statement, or they'd already have one, and do all this work and put all these words in. It would be, designed by committee or whatever, and then it would get, put in a frame, and nobody would look at it or think about it ever again. And I read a book years ago called The Advantage by Patrick Lencioni, and he argued that mission statements were really, generally the way they were executed was pretty useless. And he came up with a different formula that's probably beyond the scope of this soundbite, but maybe we can talk about it another time. But an approach that I think is better for businesses and honestly better for individuals, and just kind of keeping it practical. I mean, it's, there's the big questions of, why am I here? What am I about? What is this business about? But then you get into the kind of nitty gritty of what you're going to do and not do. And I think a lot of people, when they do it, maybe as solopreneurs, because it's just them, they can focus in and make it useful. But it's just, I think it's risky to kind of send somebody off saying, hey, I need, oh, wow, Carly and Joe say I need a mission statement. They go Google it and they see all these mission statements and they go, oh, okay. And then they're going to put a bunch of time into something they're never going to use. So that was my issue. I just think a lot of mission statements aren't very useful in the way that they're executed.
I would agree with that from a business standpoint. However, I think something that solopreneurs do need to put time and effort to is into a life mission statement. Basically, how do they, and except for like a business, you're talking about what do I sell? Who do I sell to? Why does this matter? Blah, 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 blah. But a life mission statement would answer things like, how do I want to spend my days? Who do I want to be present for? What does enough look like to me? And getting really clear on and concrete on that, which can help dictate not necessarily a mission statement for the business, but just a direction for the business. And I think it's a mistake if you optimize if you do a business mission statement without doing a personal mission statement. Do you
Well, it's
agree?
it's the whole life first thing, right? Yeah, it's the whole life first thing. If you don't define the life, the business is going to basically take it over,
Yeah.
or has a very good chance of taking it over. So, I totally agree that you need to do something like a mission statement for your life. I mean, I came up with a list of 6 things to think about.
Okay.
And the first one is, why does my life exist? Or what am I here for? What is my point? It's not going to be just about money, right? It's going to be, what am I here for? What do I hope my legacy is when I'm gone, if you will? How do I behave? How do I behave with other people? What is it I actually do? And this is, again, what do I do in my life? What do I spend my time doing? What will I do to succeed, and what won't I do? Right? That's something. What matters most right now? What is the priority right this second? And which, again, a mission statement doesn't cover that kind of thing because it's forever, right? Um, and who's doing what in my life, right? So if I'm married, I got a partner, then what is my responsibilities versus theirs, and coming to terms with that. So I don't know. That was what I came up with in my 15 minutes of preparation for this one this morning.
So I kind of had like a similar, it's you had six. I think my three were to name your non-negotiables. and they kind of tie into what you said, but name your
Yeah.
non-negotiables, the things you refuse to trade away. Describing your ideal Tuesday, not what your ideal weekend looks like,
I love
but what
that
your
one, actually. I think that's a great one.
I we talked about it a few months ago in another episode, and I can't for the right life of me remember what it was tied to. But like, if you think about what you want your vacation or your time off to look like, that's not practical. Like, think about what a Tuesday we're doing this on a Friday. What do even your Friday mornings look like? And then this is based off of a conversation we had either last week or 2 weeks ago on this show to define success that doesn't need an audience. Like, you're not going to get that approval and or that praise that you would get in corporate. So what would that be as part of this like North Star statement that you have in your mind? And I just think the mission becomes the question you run every decision through, both personally and professionally. So that's my take on the life first mission, not necessarily the business mission.
Yeah, no, I like those. I mean, it's true. And if you don't do that, I mean, you can. We have come up with setting goals. Obviously, we talk about that all the time. And at some level, if you think about doing something like this, it helps you define those goals that you want to work toward in your life, because you kind of what is it at the bottom of the at what do I want to say? At the end of the day, what is really important? And if this is a process to do that, I'm a huge fan. If it's a process of kind of going on about, we exist to make the world a better place by, creating whatever, it gets to the point where it's lofty and unactionable. But if it's what you just talked about, then I really like it.
It's what I just talked about. We came to an agreement. And listeners, I think like a challenge for you this week is as you're thinking through what you want your life first business to look like, is start by finding like one current commitment you have that violates what that statement would be, and then decide what you'll do about it to get one step closer to that ideal Tuesday. So it's my
Hey,
challenge.
so here's something funny here. So when I was looking at this topic, I decided to go to Claude, and I said, give me some sound bites that I could use in this podcast. And they were not really my style, but I have them here, and I just want you to hear what these Claude said. Clarity you use on a Tuesday beats poetry you frame on a wall.
Oh, I like it. And I want to put that on my walls.
And another one was, a GPS can't help you until you enter a destination.
Ooh, Joe, that is a great. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
All right, those
It's
road
not,
bumper sticker worthy.
I couldn't work it in like it was mine, but they are pretty good. And the last one was, if your mission never costs you anything, it's decoration. I'm not sure if that one resonates as much, but yeah, the first two I kind of liked, but like I said, I couldn't just pretend they were mine. It just didn't feel
Honestly,
real.
the compass one, we have a lot of compassy things now in our life first verbiage on the site and throughout all of our content. So maybe we'll just steal that one.
Yeah, the new website, which isn't up yet.
Well, listeners, Joe and I can go back and forth on this all day, but thank you so much for tuning in. It would mean the world to us if you left us a 5-star review on Apple or Spotify. It helps us spread the word to other life first solopreneurs who might need some direction with that compass of theirs. Share this episode with another solopreneur who you think would find it helpful, and subscribe to our show on any podcast platform, including YouTube. And we'll see you next time on the Life First Solopreneur.